Hello there, dear viewer. I hope you're having a good morning, afternoon, evening, or night. Thank you for joining me again for another Tekken video. Today I want to talk about a little bit of drama, a little bit of tea that's been going around in the community as of late. It's a little bit of downplay drama, and I just kind of wanted to put my 2 cents on the entire matter and kind of talk about downplaying in general in the FGC. Now, the drama started off with main man King J and Fighting GM having a little bit of dispute about the strength of Lee. Personally, I think they both handled it a bit poorly. I think they could have talked about it in private. King J kind of found an archived video of him being talked about in a bad light by Fighting GM, and also Fighting GM wasn't saying very nice things. These men are both men in their 30s, just kind of throwing each other under the bus, but I kind of think that this could have all been done with privately. They kind of just talked about it in private. And then Main Man Sweet came in as well and just started saying that Fighting GM is full of bogus, but they give props to Fighting GM. He's a much better player than Main Man Sweet. Main Man Sweet is a bit of a fraud, in my opinion. I mean, he's a good Mishima player, but at the end of the day, if you've been playing the game for 20 years, you're gonna have at least some good Mishima execution. You know what I mean? But yeah, these guys all kind of like bickered and moan about the strength of Lee. Now, I just want to say first off that downplaying is human nature. Downplaying is part of society. If you know what I mean, if you really think about it. People downplay is part of propaganda, part of everything. And fighting games at the end of the day are kind of like boiled down human essence, if you know what I mean. Fighting games are escapism. People go from their dull, kind of boring lives to come play fighting games and kind of escape from all that. And they express avenues of their personality that they normally don't get to in their more modern life. And that's part of like the beauty of Tekken and fighting games in general, is that you can be a boss, you can be the cool guy, you could be the annoying guy, etc. When you're playing fighting games, and that's something that you're not going to get in the modern society without being scoffed at. And due to that, everyone's like persona and ego is 110%. And I'd actually say that persona and ego is a big part of playing fighting games in general. You sort of want to put off a kind of image or an idea of yourself when you're playing a fighting game, whether it be intimidating or tricky or goofy, if you know what I mean. These kind of things can be expressed through player expression and how people's execution is done. And these kind of personas or moods affect combat, I'd say. And I feel that like if you're not trying to impose some kind of feeling onto your opponent, then you're missing a big part of fighting games. But downplaying is all part of that. So first of all, we're just going to go over the hard thing, which is that downplaying protects your character from nerfs. Downplaying protects your character, well, maybe get your character buffs. If you cause enough of a stink on Twitter that Kazuya needs fixed, he might get a buff, you know? There's a real like merit to the community like making buffs and nerfs happening. So, I'm not saying that everyone who is downplaying, etc., is doing some social engineering cult kind of thing to try and get their character some buffs or nerfs, but there is some merit to that. And when you downplay your character, people get more frustrated by them. If you give this impression that the Mishima characters are the most highly skilled, most high execution fighting game characters in all video games, and to be able to use them even at a meager value is like the hardest thing that you're ever gonna do, and you know, you've heard it all, you know. When you beat someone with someone that's supposed to be really difficult, they get this impression that you're so much better than them. and that's all part of the kind of meta of the fighting game outside of the fighting game, you know. And it's why people take on personas like low tier God, is that people like the underdog, people like the, you know, and people want you to think that they're the underdog, or you're one of the underdogs, you know, community. These are just kind of things that I think that people are wary of in real life, but they don't understand how they apply in the fighting game. And I think that downplaying is just like part of human nature. It's always going to be here. It's been here since the Street Fighter. It's been here since all over the place. Tier lists are a complete joke, you know, because 99.9% of people playing fighting games are never going to go to a local. They're never going to go to a tournament. So the format that they play in is online. And that is completely different from offline. The timing and environment, the lag and everything makes almost a completely different game from online. And if you look at games like Super Smash Bros. Melee, right? And the first time in 20 years, Donkey Kong has won a major. And if you don't know what a major is, that's like one of the biggest tournaments of the year, right? Or the biggest tournament of the year. And basically, after 20 years of this character being on the bottom tier, he's now shooting up the tier list. And I think there's a big part of, like, the players sort of make the character. Like, I feel like a lot of the tier list is because the better players go to the easier characters because they're easier to master, instead of exploring the slightly harder characters but better characters, you know. I feel that if this game was never to get another update in its lifetime, we would see the tier list shift constantly as the skill level increases. And yeah, no, this is just my little video about downplaying, etc. I just wanted to give my 2 cents about it and show you the kind of like rational thought about it is like just part of human nature, and people are always gonna talk nonsense, you know, or whatever. I'm not saying that you don't have genuine concerns if your character's too weak or too strong, but it's not something to start calling people names over or start causing a fuss over. I know this is all part of a show, you know, but I just want to talk to the viewer, you know, talk to the people that are maybe getting it like a little bit lost in the sauce themselves with this downplaying, or people that just feel like they can't play the game anymore because their character's too weak or whatever, you know, or the stress of playing a strong character and everyone not liking you because of it, you know. That, like, people shame people for playing strong characters and stuff like that. That's a real thing. Like, I don't know what it's like playing Dragunov. Like, people probably hate those people, you know. I sure hate Alyssa players, you know. Anyway, this is just my 2 cents on downplaying and the nature of downplaying and the drama that's been going on recently. I'm pretty sure none of the 3 people will ever watch this video, and they don't have time for it, but I just thought I'd talk about it. Anyway, I hope you have a lovely day.